Ben back here again. Thank you so much for coming back, sir. Like we were just talking about, it's been a little bit over a year now since you've been on here, and I'm
Yeah.
stoked that you're back.
Yeah, I'm stoked to be back too. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, the triumphant return.
Yeah, a year later, last time I saw you, I was in upstate New York at my friend's house.
That's
And
right.
yeah, in the woods in the middle of nowhere for like a month. Um, but a lot has happened since then. I can't remember when that was exactly. Was it a year ago?
I think
Probably.
it was November, I believe, of yeah, of last year. No, no, sorry, the year before last. So 2021 November
Yeah.
ish.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So
November adjacent.
more than a year. Yeah. But good
Okay.
to see you for having me back.
Yeah, and that's all the time we have. Ben, thank you so much for coming back.
Yeah.
We'll see
Awesome.
you. We'll see you in a little bit over a year. No, yeah, and
Yeah.
the last time we spoke, I think the album, the Sylvie album, had just been released, I believe, hot off the heels of the first release of that.
Yeah. I guess so, huh? Yeah. It would have been. My track of time is pretty off, but I think it was released in October, maybe. I
Yeah,
don't know. Yeah.
hot off the presses. Yeah, that was the last time we spoke.
Yeah.
Now, looking back on that now, of when it was released and where we are now, do you feel differently about the album? Now it's had some time to be out there in the world and people have listened to it and ingested it.
Mm, yeah. I mean, I don't think about the songs as much, like I think I talked about this last time, but each time I write, I have like this like relationship or develop this whole attachment to a song, and like go through all these different iterations of it, and it's something that's happening in my life, so I'm very invested emotionally. And then it's like I haven't listened to it really, but I'm practicing it all the time. For like, I'm playing the songs off the record for the upcoming tour. So yeah, my relationship artistically to it's different. I'm kind of like searching for what's next, just going through other things in my life, but I'm still very proud of them and I still love the songs and still going to play them. So
I think the people still want to hear them. So I think you're in a good position, Ben.
yeah.
I think you're right where you need to be on that.
Totally. Yeah. Well, the other thing is like s- since that since it was released, like Sylvie hasn't played that much. I haven't gotten a chance to really play those songs live very much because personal stuff, life circumstances just sort of took over this last year. So I haven't like in a way they're kind of new to live, That I haven't shared them live as much. So I'm excited. In a way they're still fresh. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you still feel like that connected to them, or do you feel connected to them in a different way now that they've been out, but you're playing them live for the first? I mean, kind of first couple of times now. It's still not like, oh, okay, we gotta go do this one again and go through this thing. It's like, oh, all right, we'll see how this one goes this round.
Yeah. I mean, it's it's funny you asked that because I always feel some like because I produced and arranged all of it and stuff like, and I do care about, like I don't try to recreate it exactly, but I know that like if I go play live with Sylvie, there's an element to it where it would be nice to do it sort of like the album or something. So I'm trying to do that for the shows and like, make that sound sort of like the record, but also do new things too. It's a hard balance,
Sure.
Or like Bob Dylan or something. They were just like didn't care, They're just like just do whatever in the moment and not really answer to anyone's expectations. So I'm always kind of riding that line or something. But like we're gonna play them sort of like the album, and but then with new elements to them, a little more up tempo, a little more different players, different people doing them. So it changes. It's cool to see it. Actually, it's a way to keep it fresh for me, like, not just doing the same exact version.
Right.
having about it.
Right.
Reinterpret it. Like I wrote, the songs are pretty universal. They can be done in a lot of different ways. So it's pretty fun. I feel like I could play them for the next few years and always figure out a different way or style or way to sing it, or you know. So that's keeps it fresh,
So
I think.
just instrumentation this time around. No lyrics. Just the musical aspect.
Just instrumental. The
Yeah.
whole
Okay.
50 minutes of instrumental music with no words.
Somebody setting up a mic for you, like, whoa. What do we just mic everything? We don't need these. This is for nothing. We don't need these vocal mics. Just make sure everything's balanced.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
Right. It's pro move. When you go and see a band, let's say Bob Dylan, for example, and he's, playing songs, do you prefer them to sound like the record or have a different spin on them than the record?
I don't know, because I don't go see people anymore in that way. But I remember when I used to go to more often in my 20s, and I think I probably wanted to hear it like the album, or like felt let down if it wasn't, if it was totally different or something, because you're very emotionally tied to that experience. But I don't know. It's different when you're doing it for so many years and you're like, you feel pressure to want to please like an audience, or make something that people like, but also you have to keep exploring yourself and keep things interesting and do what feels good to you. So I trust, like with Sylvie stuff, that if the music is, people really like it, that they're sort of down to go with whatever happens. That's what you want to have, I think, is an audience who will,
Right.
like kind of thing. But I don't know. I don't really go to shows. Like I would love to go see Bob Dylan play, but I just haven't done that yet.
I never know when Bob Dylan is playing. You know,
Yeah.
who's in the know when Bob Dylan's playing? I guess his friends.
Yeah. I don't know. I would love to see Neil Young or some of those guys like Graham Nash or something. But, I haven't, I go see shows of indie bands,
Mm,
friend show. I
Yeah,
don't go to,
that's what we're
yeah.
talking about right now. Bob Dylan, Neil Young, indie guys. Yes,
Yeah.
2010's best musicians, indie guys.
Yeah.
That's what I think of. Oh yeah, those indie guys. I'm not too keen on that scene, but yeah, I like those dudes. I like what they've been doing. Up and comers.
Yeah. They're pretty cool.
What was a performance that you did see live that you're like, whoa, that was awesome. That was great.
Recently, let me think.
Or even of all time, Ben.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I see Cass McCombs a lot. He's always really good. Um, this guy, Alex Eisenberg, I saw a stripped down set of him. Do you know him?
No, I'm not familiar with the guy.
He's a really good songwriter. He's been around for a while. Him and it was like two guitars stripped down at Permanent Records. They played a really good set. That was one of the better sets I've seen lately. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard to think. I mean, of all, yeah. Um, yeah, hard to say. Hard to say. I see so many people playing.
We're gonna come back to that in about 2 weeks. We're just gonna edit it in here and say, oh yeah, that one. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's always good to have those like, oh whoa, those stick with you kind of shows. Violent Femmes.
Yeah, yeah,
Violent Femmes, going back to like sounding exactly like the record. That's a group that will sound exactly like the record.
they do. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
and it's really good because
That's
everybody knows that one tape. I forgot what it's called. Might just be called the self-titled one, but yeah, that one's really good. Pretty
cool.
pretty pretty good. Yeah, so that's the next one that we're gonna go to. Ben, you and I are gonna go see Violent Femmes.
Sure.
I know that that's up your alley. Those are big mentors to you. In the sound that you're trying to make. I get that.
Yeah,
Big influences.
yeah, they're huge.
Right, right. I mean, I could hear it. I could hear it in the sound. I go, wow, Violent Femmes all the way. Gotcha.
Yeah,
Violent Femmes, Men at Work, these kind of bands.
yeah. I mean, I'm such a music like I used to go see more indie shows, but like I said, I'll see my friends play, but I'm always looking for like I go see live jazz music. I really like that. And like I went and saw these kids in Topanga who are these kind of younger musicians who are really good, who are going to play in Sylvie now, and they're really good. They're kind of off the radar or like out of the scene, the indie music scene. I'm not
Until
really.
now, drop their names, Ben.
Yeah, I can't tell you. They're really special though and really talented. It's fun to go looking like that, like or to see that outside of like, just indie music and stuff. I love indie music, but I'm also, you know, not not really in that world as much as I was. Say in my 20s, I would go see like Brian Jonestown Massacre, Cass McCombs, or all those people. And yeah, it's different now.
It's different, but it's good. It's
But
good.
I love music more than ever. It's just different. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just when you feel, or are you feeling the most connected to music right now than ever before?
I feel yeah, you could say that. Like, I feel the most confident in my abilities as a musician and what I like and what I want to do and what my vision is for things. And I trust myself when I'm doing things now. I had a very hard time in my career as a musician trying to like quote unquote make it or be successful or like have momentum. And when I gave up and I was like just started doing what I actually loved doing or doing connecting to the things that were around me, like say my dad is a musician, playing with him, doing a song with him, actually looking at like what was in front of me and what I really, really loved, not what I thought maybe I should be doing. Or, it was very confusing for me. So then, like when I got to this point in my maturity as a musician, I started to realize like, well, can make my own success. It's not going to be as big as maybe other people's, but I feel yeah, it's cool getting old. I mean, there's a lot of hard things about getting older, but there's a lot of cool things. Like you kind of know what you like more all across the board, with music or in life or with what you like to eat or what you want to do. Like, so it's kind of like that.
Kind of getting comfortable with what you want to make was a
Yeah.
big step.
Yeah. Just having a lot of self um affirmation, believing in yourself and what you're writing. I mean, I don't, it's very hard for me. It was hard for me. It still is to do that. I'm very sensitive and insecure. Just like, if you're a musician or an artist, it's really, I think a lot of my friends are very insecure, unsure people, because you're so emotionally tapped into things and it's just hard. So to feel more grounded in that way is nice. It's helped in my trusting myself with whatever I write or whatever I want to do. I kind of feel like I'm more free now in my way of doing it. So, anyways, I don't know if that makes sense, but it's kind of like,
I'm with you, Ben. I'm with you.
yeah, yeah.
So basically, you're just getting big time. That's the moral of the story. This is
So basically, I'm rich, I'm big time, and I make, this soft rock 70s music that it's so big time. It's
yeah,
just the most important music of all time
yeah.
right now,
That's it.
culturally.
This is
Then
a
that's,
movement.
yeah, I basically started a movement
Wow.
and it's all original. It's just me that
Right.
made sound. Has
Yeah.
nothing to do with else.
No, it's good because you're carrying so much weight. It's just it's insane. It's kind of, but heavy is the head that wears the crown. So you know, two sides of the same coin. Um, speaking of this of the 70s kind of soft rock stuff. Do you think that obviously outside of your own band, do you feel like that kind of sound or inspirations of that sound is becoming more prevalent in modern music?
Yeah, it's hard to say because I'm surrounded by so much of it and people that like that music. And then sometimes I'm outside of that and I realize I live in a fucking bubble, of the like in Southern California where this thing is kind of happening. But I think there's a reason why people I think about it, why do people want to go back and are more obsessed with that way of making music or that way of communicating stuff? Yeah, I think it's a real, very real thing. It makes sense culturally. I don't really know all the answers, but I think there's something very, I don't know the word, just genuine and authentic and sincere about a lot of old ways of making music or the songwriting and the sentiments and just the simplicity about it that's refreshing now to people because we live in such weird, crazy times where things are so confusing. I think that has a lot to do with it, the simplicity, but I don't really know. But it seems like, yeah, there's a resurgence, right? In California, at least, or everywhere. I don't know.
California, uh Phoenix, Arizona, that's where it's really happening.
Phoenix.
Jacksonville. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Phoenix is really popping off right now, which is, it's their time to shine. That's the next major city. Predicting it now. Everyone's gonna move to Phoenix.
Yeah.
Not Tucson, not what's the other one? Tucson, Phoenix. There's
Tucson and uh I
something
don't
with
know.
a T. It's something with a T. We're just gonna edit in later. It's fine. But yeah, yeah, Arizona in general. Tempe.
Tempe, yeah.
Thanks,
Tempe.
Ben. Appreciate it, dude. You could have. Yeah, I knew you knew what it was. You're just like, no, let him figure it out. Shit, Ben. Leave me out
Yeah.
to dry over here.
I don't think that music is happening over there as much, right? It's more because Southern California also has a legacy of this music is like Laurel Canyon, Topanga, all the music that got made here, all the style, the fashion, the culture, like it's still here, So that's why I think people here are more tapped into it. I actually, me and some of the guys who are coming on this next tour, these younger musicians from, some of them are from Topanga, but they're amazing, right? These younger guys who are sort of like just musical virtuoso kids are amazing, and we me and some of the other there's like a big group coming on this next tour, but we went and shot a photo with this guy Henry Diltz, who's a photographer from that era, um, from the 70s. He shot like the CSNY cover and all the Joni Mitchell stuff, and he took a Sylvie photo the other day. It was really fun in Topanga to do that because it's like, yeah, I think that the history is here, So it's, I don't know, kind of lives on, or people adapt it. Yeah,
Right here in Tempe, I understand.
here in
Um,
Tempe.
here in Tempe. Do you now? What do you think? What band do you think of when people say like, "Oh, California music"? Is it the Eagles? I feel like for a lot of people, it is the Eagles solidifying California sound.
From that time or from now?
Just in general,
In
when people
general,
say like, "Oh, California music,"
yeah.
yeah.
That's funny, see, because they're not from California. But yeah, they took that identity on. I would say
Winslow,
that
Arizona.
I
I'm
think
just saying, Ben. There it is, right there.
yeah,
You think I'm
that
talking out my ass here, man? This is. I did the research for this, checking out where it is.
yeah, I don't know, just the obvious ones like that. Just Eagles, CSNY, stuff like that. Joni Mitchell
Sylvie.
and the and then Sylvie. I know all of them, they love Sylvie.
Yeah, that's your crew. You guys have like
Yeah,
a crew. Yeah.
yeah.
The Canyon crew. I get it.
Hmm. We're
Uh
like,
yeah, yeah, that's you. I get it. It's at the wrecking crew, but it's the Canyon crew now. It's all it's the same thing, just different iterations,
yeah,
right? Different time frames. Um with the release of the album, and it really, I don't know, Ben, it feels like we haven't spoke in a while, but I guess in the retrospect really it hasn't been that long. But it having it be out for a year and some change now, um does it feel like it's finally reaching the the people of like where it needs to be, and it's kind of going outside of the group of people that you worked on it with? It's
yeah,
like, hey, here it is. It's in the just the atmosphere of the public.
yeah. I would say so. More sometimes than I would think. Sometimes I've been surprised recently where people will know about Sylvie that I would not think they would know. It's hard to tell sometimes because, like I said, you're always living in this bubble here with obviously people here, my friends know about it and stuff. But like Sylvie's going on a headlining tour in Europe, so people know it there, or people, and I just hear little things where I'm surprised, like, oh wow, that's crazy that this person would know Sylvie, you know. But I don't think it's big or anything like really people know it. But it has gone by beyond what I would, I guess, other music that I've written socially, like in that way. I don't know. I don't know. These things are hard to gauge, but I'm very proud of the album, and if it, I want it obviously to reach more people. That's such a good feeling.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Do you feel the band the album perfectly solidified like what you're trying to do sonically with this project?
Yeah, yeah. I just would like song by song, basically. Um, but the whole thing I think fits together okay. There's a lot of there's different people singing, there's different styles I'm playing, but yeah, I think it did. Yeah.
I would say so too.
Thanks.
If you're gonna ask me, Ben, but that's just an outside perspective. What is, if there is any, what is the ethos of Sylvie?
Well, a lot of it's what I was telling you about earlier about coming to a place where I was accepting what was in front of me, my musical lineage, my connection with my dad, that music, um, music that I grew up with. Um, I'm very like traditionalist, so I just love trying to write a good song that captures how what something I'm going through and something that's universally like you can apply to, you know, to any situation. But I try to use the songs to I know it probably people don't see this, but I'm kind of like I'm the one writing it and producing it and arranging it and usually and doing the videos and having the whole vision. And when I do it, it actually is a really like self-healing spiritual process for me. That's actually at the root of it. That's why I'm able to do it for so many hours, for so many days, weeks with no money or no support or whatever it was, like because it's a self-healing process writing these songs. I try to become a better person through them
Mhm.
and learn something or go through something emotionally. It's I don't know. So it's like songwriters stuff, deep emotional stuff. No, but that's kind of the ethos actually.
Okay.
It's just that. Like if I feel like I'm challenging myself or I'm gonna get something out of it, or I'm pushing myself or trying to get through a situation, and then, the music doing all of it helps me. And I come out always on the other end really feeling great and feeling really proud usually about it. So that's the ethos for me. That's why I do it.
Gotcha.
If I
Yeah.
didn't have that, I couldn't just sit there for like months in my studio and like go nuts on something. There has to be like a deeper reason, right?
Mhm.
For
Sure.
me, and I think for a lot of songwriters too.
Is the connection to a song needed in order to make a good song? Like, do you need to feel attached to it in some way? Is that how you feel about that?
Both, like really attached, like it's your whole life. Like you're every time I was writing a song, I thought like this is going to be the greatest song anyone's ever heard, but it's not, but you think that. I feel like you have to feel that way, or I have to feel that way, or this is the best thing I'm ever gonna do, or this is the deepest I'm ever gonna go, or this type of song is I've never written, so why don't I want to learn how to immerse myself in this process and learn something about my about writing in this way or trying on different things. But then also you have to be detached too, because if you're too attached, then you become really um, then you can't see it from an outside perspective. And sometimes people who are too attached, they don't even share their music or something, or you like you won't change. You're afraid to change something because you think it's perfect. It's really a battle of both things. Very hard, I think, as a songwriter. Because like there were songs, for instance, like the song "Falls on Me," which is the probably the more popular song in the Sylvie album. There's a whole nother version of that song that sounds totally different. It actually sounds kind of like Pink Floyd or something. It was like a totally different vibe. And I love the original vibe. It's not like Pink Floyd or something, but it's more washy and reverby and kind of it had this like really nice strum guitar and it had the same sentiment, but it was a way different thing. And I remember changing it at the end because I thought it could be this other thing. But if I was too attached, I wouldn't have done that. And there was a lot of stuff like that where I was just like let go of attachment of something. I don't know. It's hard to explain for me, but it's both, I would say.
Gotcha. Right, right, right. Now, yeah, I can see that, Ben. I see what you're saying. Now, going back to Tempe and that sound. No, going back to your father that we um have mentioned a little bit now. His song from
Hmm.
his old band, Mad Anthony, right? Is that the name of that band?
That, yeah,
Is it having a release of a real release? One of
yeah,
his songs coming
hmm
up here?
yeah,
Wow, that's
yeah.
awesome.
Pretty cool. Yeah, they just sent me the test pressing for that. I think it's gonna come out this year. I forget. I have the dates. I know the next single comes out in 2 or 3 weeks. And then the vinyl will come out. There'll be a proper release for it. Yeah,
That's insane. That's crazy.
very cool. The music is really good.
Sure.
I'm
Now,
glad I get to hear it.
yeah, how did that kind of come about? Reopening this 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 thing of music that your father was a part of, and this was in we're talking about the 70s now. Yes.
Yeah. It was recorded in a barn in Santa Barbara in 1976 or 75, something like that. But it came about because, like I was telling you, that's part of my story. My dad sort of had these lost recordings from that time. Once I started hearing more recordings like his music, like Sylvie, Matthew Southern Comfort, or there's so many gems from that era. I sort of started to like in my mind have this whole world or the way I would perceive like music that was lost from that time, like and my dad in my mind is like part of that story a little bit. So conceptually I was like tied that into with what I was doing and I was like, maybe if Sylvie I kind of like tap into that energy or tune in to that and then through Sylvie, that Matt Anthony can be a part of that too. They can be this. So in the bio, I told the story of my dad's music in the Sylvie bio, and people it says something like, this music is inspired by this lost tape that I found. I sort of made this little story out of it because I thought it was interesting and it's part of my life. And so through Sylvie and people hearing that, Matt Anthony has had like a way to be released now or something, which I always wanted because I thought the music and the writing is so amazing. And
Right.
it was always kind of like a, I don't know, like, I mean, to be honest, like when people in that from that time who feel like they didn't make it as a musician or their music was never really heard or whatever, there's this narrative that you failed or you're not successful or something. And I kind of felt that energy from him a lot as a musician, like he felt that way about it. But then simultaneously the music is so good, and I believe in it so much. So it's kind of just like, you know what? It's kind of like fuck this narrative about that, figure out a way to release this music and good song is a good song, like their first single, Rena, that song is really beautiful, just amazing ballad that people love it because it's very soulful and it's really good. So it's
Right.
kind of like me reversing that narrative too. This music is not unsuccessful or lost or failed, it's actually amazing. Here, listen to it.
Yeah. And now there's more, obviously more avenues or ways that people it can get to people now as opposed to when it was recorded in the barn in Santa
Yeah,
Barbara.
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was happy I could help with that process, um, and still helping to do that. But it's exciting. It's coming out, and I hope people like it too.
What was your dad's reaction when you're like, you know what, let's try to get this off the ground and let's do something with it?
Um, he doesn't really know because he's not like tapped into what the way music is released now. It's really funny when you're out of touch. Like he always asks me, he's like, or he just asked me, how are the numbers, like on Spotify. He's like, "How are the numbers looking?" I'd be like, "Oh, it's like at 10,000." And he's like, "Wow." To him, he's just like, he's not tuned into our culture. There's all these differences, right?
But he knows what to ask. He's asking about numbers, man. I mean, and you got to give it to him. He's like, all right, at least he knows. He's on with the numbers. He's trying to get statistics. He's trying to break into the algorithm. I think is essentially what he's trying to do there.
Yeah, yeah.
You got
No,
to give
he's
him props on that, Ben.
catching on to it. I mean, I'm not saying he doesn't know, he's totally ignorant, but obviously from that time, the way you release music is very different. You can't just release music in the same way.
Right.
Now anyone can release music, but back then it's kind of like more like you're either really, I think a little bit more like you're really doing it, you really have a label deal, you're really a musician, like that's what you're doing, or you're not really releasing music.
It's either
But
one or the other.
anyone can upload their music to
Mhm.
Spotify. The game is just different. So it's funny watching him try and like bringing that music out and then watching him try and understand how it gets funneled into people, into the world.
He's
Yeah.
catching up, man. He's trying to decipher what people want to hear, what they don't want to hear. He's trying to get to the core of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I respect it. And yeah, Ben's father is coming on to discuss his album tomorrow. I think is when we have it scheduled. Yeah,
He's coming. That'd be cool. Yeah.
that would
Interview
be
him. For sure.
fucking sick. Yeah. Um. What now? Do you know the other fellas, or have you ever met any of the other guys of Matt Anthony before, or is it
Mhm.
just working with your father with this?
No, I was around them as a kid. Like, there's three of them mainly. It's like my uncle Carl, my dad, and Larry Dotson were the main members. Larry Dotson was the guitar player. He has passed already, but Carl I know pretty well. He called me the other day and talked about old music, and I
And
told
how
him
the
that
numbers were doing, of course. You had to ask about it.
he's totally not even thinking about that. But yeah, but I know him. Yeah, of course.
What was their reaction? when it started to gain some steam?
The kind of weird part about it is they don't care as much as I care. How it is.
What a what
Carl
a what
has-
a good person to be on your team though. It's like at least you care about it. You're putting your head to the grindstone and doing the work for them.
yeah, they don't care about the way they're perceived or if the music gets heard or not in the same way. I mean, I think a little bit, but Carl is also very old and actually has some like, um, he has like e- dementia and he can't really remember. So really, it's my dad who's sort of witnessing this more, and the other guitar player had passed. They're a lot older, So I don't know. I think it's yeah, hard to say, but
Nevertheless, it's coming out.
nevertheless, it's coming out. And you know what? Actually, Sylvie on this next tour is gonna we're gonna cover the song "Arena" by that Matt Anthony wrote. We're doing a live version of it, which is it's sounding pretty good, and it's fun to cover that or to put that in the set. So that'll be cool.
And in turn, your father is covering a few Sylvie songs, right?
Yeah, yeah, he's playing gigs in Ohio doing Sylvie covers.
Right. Do you see similarities between what he was doing with his band and how you perceive music and how what you're doing with your band and how you perceive music, or bands and how you perceive music?
Yeah, I think so. They, yeah, I mean, I wasn't around at that time, but I can imagine going through all the same process and the things that you go through as a musician and the places you play and hanging out in these certain areas and just all the stuff you experience as a musician in your 20s and 30s. A lot of he went through too. And so yeah, I feel our paths are very aligned in that way. And then I'm very influenced by his music and what he showed me in songwriting. So yeah, I think in a lot of ways, very similar paths are very aligned.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Would you be making the same music if your father hadn't been exposing you to music and being into music himself?
I don't think so. I don't really know, but I don't think so. Not in the same way. My father, my brother had like a musical connection. We played together a lot. Um, so no, I don't think so. I don't think I actually didn't want to be a musician, but it's kind of in my, it's like it's in my upbringing. So I kind of like I withheld from doing it because I was like, yeah, nervous to pursue it as a career. It's so hard to make a living as a musician doing your own music. Still to this day, it's just so challenging. So I was always like, oh, should I do this? But then it's very natural for me. I just love it so much, and it's in my blood, kind of thing. Yeah, from my dad, I think, and my mom too, actually. But she's not a musician. But yeah,
And this is the man, I mean, every dish every day. And I remember
you remember that,
I
right?
remember that conversation. Yeah.
Oh,
And that's actually going to be another single that's coming out from Matt, the actual song "Every Dish Every Day." And if you don't know what we're talking about, go back and listen to the first interview. At the core of it, what was in your blood forever was, you know, rollerblading. That was,
yeah. When I was young, that's what I wanted to do.
and you're going back on tour, right? It's like a half music tour, half skate tour.
People say bring your blades. Sometimes they'll DM me and be like, "I saw you're coming to Europe. Bring your blades." But
Yeah, has that crossed your mind to do, Ben?
if I was with all my old friends, like doing it, maybe, but I'm not really thinking about it as much. But yeah, it has crossed my mind. I went on a drug dealer tour, and I took them because they all skateboard,
Right.
and they wanted me to bring them because they were like they couldn't believe that I was like that I was, as good as I was when I was a lot younger. And l- so I took him and we skated together around Europe.
And
It
you
was,
showed them what the fuck was what, right?
yeah, they were trying to make fun of me, and then I just showed them what was up.
Yeah. He said, let's freaking skate.
Hmm. You
Now, I
think you're
mean, you're
with your
still you're still pretty nasty on them, right? You're still flying down handrails and shit.
no, 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 definitely not. Definitely not. In those days of like,
We're gonna cut to a photo of you just absolutely destroying a handrail right now. So yeah.
yeah.
And that was recorded last. I mean, because this will be out in a few weeks, so we'll say like last week is when you recorded it. Because I'm gonna come by, we're gonna film it, we're gonna put it in. Anyways,
Throw it up there. Yeah. It, no, I'm 36 now. I can't afford to like break my wrist or be in some crazy accident. It's just different, you know. I'm not it. I miss it for sure. The skate, but yeah, no.
is what drove you to skate and what drives you to make music coming from the same place,
Mm, similar place. Um,
or the drive or the passion to do it and do what you want, get what you want to get out of it, and make what you want to make out of it? Is that coming from the same place?
I think so. I was telling my friend there's like this chart, astrological book chart where you turn to the time and day, and it, like, there's these archetypes, and mine was like the master, someone who that tries to master things, the craft of something, like the art form of something. So I felt like I was like that in my skating, similar to my music with my own writing and stuff. I'm very like all about the process and the craft of doing something and making my own, trying to master my own like thing, whatever I'm doing. It's problematic too. It's like you're like so, I'm like too obsessed and driven beyond. So it's troublesome too. But yeah, that's kind of my personality, or like my process, artistic process. And it was similar with skating.
Mhm.
It's very like cathartic to me to do that. I don't know why. It just is.
I don't know if I asked this before, but and if I did, I apologize. If you were to make an edit, let's say you're working on it tomorrow, you're starting on it tomorrow, right? And it comes out in a few whatever months or something like that. Would you pair it with a Sylvie song? Would you score it to a
As a
Sylvie song?
Sure, if you want me to, I could do that. I've scored music for other people's skate sections.
No, but your music to your own.
Yeah, I have thought about that in the past. If I was gonna do that, maybe. I don't know. Why? So that would be like all, so my boat, like just neon.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, that could be cool. I don't think about that, but
I do.
does that sound cool to you?
That sounds so rad, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all about you, Ben. You're the
Yeah.
master, dude.
uh,
This is who you are. Check the chart, man.
yeah, check the term. Yeah, don't misinterpret what I'm saying. I don't think I'm a master of anything. It's just my
That's the,
it's
the astrological sign thing. You're
yeah,
not
it's
saying it, the book's saying it.
yeah, but it's of my own craft. It's not of anything else. I have no mastery over anything, or like I feel so like I don't know anything really.
Except
But
the master class that you are making about
oh my,
being right.
yeah.
And you have to do that because that's what you're getting paid for. Yeah, and you can go sign up for that at masterclass.com. It's, I think that's what it is. Yeah.
It's I'm so Virgo, so we're like perfectionists. We go like, we just try to, we're very practical. I have a lot of that earth kind of like practical, logistical, um, that kind of energy in my chart. So that's in my writing and in my process of making music.
And the earth is literally what you were shredding up. when you were skate. Yeah. It all
Yeah,
circles around. Yeah.
that's true.
When
That's
I,
very
no, yeah, yeah, I do my research. Um, I was looking at some clips last night,
really.
and yeah, of course, Ben.
Oh,
Yeah, it was great. It was fantastic. I found a lot on Instagram actually. Just like some snippets, you know, but it's like bang bang bang, because sometimes in an edit in like the shorter videos, especially you're in them, but there's other people spliced in as well. But with the Instagram thing, it's just bang 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 all you, you know.
uh-huh. Where do you find it? Like on YouTube or
Yeah,
on Inst
there's some on YouTube, some on Instagram.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it makes sense.
And I mean, of course, your daily vlogs of what you're doing. There's some things to take out of there as well.
Yeah.
What what year did you put it down? And I know I asked that before, but I don't remember the year.
Yeah, it was kind of like slowly as I went back to school to study music, I sort of slowed down. I'm 36 now, so I would say when I was 22, 23, 24, I started to kind of slow down and transition. Went back to school because I didn't go directly to college after skating. I was like traveling and touring when I was 18 and stuff, and then I went back to school. And yeah, I would say 22. So
Right.
kind of,
Very early, going out
yeah.
on top. Yeah,
Yeah, I started early. I started when I was like 10 or 11 years old. So
yeah, going out on top, Ben. I get it. Like perfection.
I know.
When people ask, let's say like when you go back home, to Cleveland, right?
To Dayton, Ohio.
To Dayton, Ohio. That's
That's
what
where
I
my
said.
yeah.
Yeah, oh, did you hear Cleveland? Yeah, it's the mic. It fucked up. It wasn't me just saying that. Um, when you go back, and you're talking to your parents' friends or a neighbor of some sort, and they go, "Oh, what kind of music do you make? How do you describe that? How do you describe the music that Sylvie and Golden Days makes?"
It's yeah, it's pretty hard. That question, musicians hate that question, right? I always say like singer-songwriter, old classic singer-songwriter music, kind of like or folk. But that's so general. I don't know. I mention, all the influences from that time and stuff. And then I like Steely Dan, Beatles, Todd Rundgren, stuff like that. And that's all you can say. I don't know how else to describe it. Sometimes I've said like I make derivative 70s music and then people get it right away. So maybe that's the better answer.
Maybe, yeah. Um,
Or clear. But then if I'm like, oh, it's like folk, it's like classic, and people, it's more general. So sometimes it's better to just say that.
right.
There is
Uh,
70s soft rock.
if I were you, I'd say like, oh, let's say rap. It's like like Drake or something like that.
Hmm.
And then they'll check it out. They're like, oh, this guy doesn't know what rap is at all. Yeah, my influences are like Drake and 3 6 Mafia and that kind of stuff. And then
Yeah,
they check it out and they go, oh, all right.
I love Drake actually. I
Yeah, but
mean,
you say like, yeah, I make music exactly like Drake does, like the same beats, the same
yeah.
freestyle kind of stuff. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's you gotta align yourself with.
He's crazy. He's like undeniably good. His melodies are so amazing. But yeah, no, yeah, I don't. I just say 70s stuff. Like,
70s
but
Drake.
yeah, but try to make it new. I try to make it seem like, well, like if I thought I was just doing that music, like repeating it, I wouldn't be interested. I think in my head I'm doing something kind of new with it or trying to write to just you take that energy and carry forward, right? But if I thought like, oh, I'm just making I'm making a joke, because if I thought if I was just making derivative music or copying exactly what those things are, I would it I wouldn't do it.
Right. At the end of the day.
Whether I am or not is like up to you or people from an outside perspective. But in my head, I think, like, oh, I'm writing a new song, just using these old tools or new format. Or sorry, the old format, but like, writing something new, bringing new life into it.
Mhm.
It's hard to explain that or like say that in a quick sentence.
Right, because you want it to be wrapped up as you want it to tie a bow on it as quick as possible. It'd be just trim the fat off of what it is and just say what it is, but it's difficult to articulate or to
Yeah.
have to explain it.
Yeah. And also explaining yourself as a musician, answering that question, oh, what do you play? It's just like years and years of that. And I don't think any musician likes that question.
No, no. But
Just the
that's why you're practicing it now, Ben. Do you feel the same way when people ask you about Golden Days as well? Like your part in that is it's kind of the same.
Yeah, same influences, just different format, kind of like we used a lot more dreamy, psychedelic, shoegazy stuff, the way we would produce it and dress it up. But it's a lot of the same influences. And we were always trying to like write what we thought would be like a good song or like tap into something that was like relatable or so it's very similar. Yeah, I would describe it in the same way, just kind of like different ingredients, but same pursuit, basically. You know.
A twist on the same recipe.
Exactly. And to be honest, the reason I'm able to do Sylvie in the same way in this way that I do now is because the years of making Golden Days, like we developed our process of writing and the way we would do it and stuff, and I just like adapted it into my own different thing. But that a lot of it's from that era of Golden Days and playing with my one of my best friends, Jacob Loeb. He was the other songwriter, and my brother played in that group. So we all kind of learned together, which is, yeah,
Which is what was needed to bring you to now with Sylvie.
exactly, exactly.
What are you most comfortable behind instrumentally?
Mm, I feel most like empowered or comfortable like when I'm sitting at an actual upright piano. That doesn't happen a lot live because you have to bring like an electronic piano and places but in general, just with any instrument in someone's house or like wherever it is, if I'm like at a real piano, I feel like very like I can just do I have the whole range of my musical ability right there or something. But live it's like so guitar or piano because it's but actually I'm realizing which I guess people know but like a lot of these venues we're playing a show at the Lodge Room on April 14th and they have an upright piano. So I actually talked to them today. I was like, oh, I'm going to use this upright piano. It's so different when you are playing an upright real grand piano as opposed to an electronic keyboard.
I
It's
guess. No, yeah,
no
of course. Yeah, yeah.
you're like whatever.
Yeah.
This musician stuff, it's like people are probably interested in this, but like there's something about a piano, even at my house. The piano has a tradition of like you play songs and people sit around a piano and sing songs. It invites this kind of energy of like now we sing songs together or now I play the or let me play you the song I learned. It has that energy. It's amazing because a lot of the other instruments don't have that. I mean, it's like drums, people aren't tapped into that energy. Bass, guitar sometimes is like that, but it feels different. There's something about a piano where people kind of gather around type of thing.
Right, right, right.
Love that. So that's kind of like the energy of Sylvie a lot of the time. And when we're playing, it's like I'm on the piano and then it's just like, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but it's an old traditional thing.
I feel like and the other secondary instrument that's inviting people in, and it's kind of has that feel, is the recorder.
Yeah.
When you bust that out, it everybody's like, oh, fucking recorder, you know. That's just been
Yeah.
my experience with it.
Yeah.
There
People
has
go,
not been one Christmas without somebody busting out the old recorder and everybody gathering around
yeah,
and
people go nuts.
humming their favorite recorder songs and whatnot. Yeah,
Yeah.
but that, I mean, it might be something for other families. It might be the tuba. Tuba's a close third on that, I would say.
Yeah.
The
I,
warmth.
I wish I knew how to play flute.
Hmm.
Flute's pretty cool too. But
What's another one that you wish that you could understand how to play, or at least grasp it a little bit?
flute, or maybe I maybe viola. Viola would be nice. If I could play like string instruments, I could make my own string sections and stuff. That's pretty cool.
And that's what's next for
That,
Sylvie.
I'm gonna master that.
Okay.
I
I mean,
wait.
check the book,
Yeah, just check my astrology sign.
right?
Yeah.
Well, Ben, I'm really looking forward to that orchestral album that is coming out in, what is it? May? It's May. It's gonna come out, the orchestral Sylvie album.
Tomorrow night
Oh, okay. Well, it'll be out by now, so
it
please go ahead and
dropped.
go.
I'm gonna record it today.
Oh, okay. And it's gonna be released tomorrow. Yeah, quick. I forgot. It's quick turnaround with you guys. It's my
By
apologies.
midnight tomorrow.
Look, Ben, it's been a minute since you've been on. I forgot how quick you work. I'm sorry. That's on me. I apologize. But Ben, man, pleasure sitting with you and chatting with you again, and thank you for coming back on. Uh,
Damn.
yeah, it was great to chat with you, and I can't wait to go rollerblade with you tomorrow to celebrate the release of the new album, of course. But before I let you go, we got to do some promo here. So,
Sure.
Sylvie Music, streaming everywhere, wherever you get your music, that's where you could find it. The album that we've been talking about, the first album, self-titled, is on Bandcamp. And what is the label that it's under as well?
It's on Full Time Hobby Records.
Full Time Hobby Records, but it's sold out there. And is it? Isn't it? Is it?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe.
we're gonna bleep that if it is. If it isn't, go ahead and go buy that. And whatever you're listening to this on, it'll be linked below. If there is some left, and when there is some more, they'll be restocked, and you can go click on it again. And people can stay up to date with tour dates and news and all that good stuff at the Sylvie on Instagram, which is at Sylvie_music_ on Instagram. Is that the best place?
That's the best place.
And the Bandcamp, of course. And is that at Sylvie.bandcamp?
I'd have to look that up, but you'll see on the link tree. If you go to Sylvie's Instagram, you'll see there's a link tree with the Bandcamp, the tour dates, all the stuff. We have a new link tree someone made for me, so it has everything on there.
Linktree's tight, and also the Bandcamp will be linked below of whatever you listen to this on. And Golden Daze music streaming everywhere on Instagram at golden_days_ to keep up to date with tour dates and news. And you guys are playing a show tomorrow, which hopefully this will be out by then. We don't know.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, keep up to date with news and tours and all that good stuff by following them on Instagram as well. And where could the people buy the music? Through the Bandcamp? Is it the best place
Yeah.
for Golden Days?
Yeah. Bandcamp, I would say.
All right. Well, you heard Bandcamp, and it'll be linked, where, down below. Do you have anything else, Ben?
No. It's good to see you. I hope you're doing well, and everyone who's listening is blessed. God bless.
Thank you, Ben. I appreciate it. Yeah,
Hmm.
I'm doing pretty good. Um, yeah, yeah. Been trying to break in these boots for the past couple months, and I'm finally doing it. So pretty stoked on that.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I got an alpaca sweater. This sweater is alpaca. It's so warm 'cause it's been so rainy and
it has been. Are you
oh,
just real quick, Ben? Are you doing double? Is that long sleeve shirt underneath the sweater?
yeah, it's like a thermal. It's been so cold and rainy and so yeah, I'm just staying warm over here.
Okay, all right, good deal. Ben, you're awesome. Thank you so much for coming back on. I'm gonna stop recording this. I'll talk to you in a minute. All right.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Ben.